Welcome to the Hidden Ingredients of Success, the first interactive podcast of its kind, and the only podcast that gives away cash on every episode. Find the hashtag Get Synchronized and tune in to find out more details on how to win. Get synchronized.
Head on over to GetSynchronized.com where you can find the winning answer to the cash giveaway on this episode. That's GetSynchronized on the content page where it says page 5 from my upcoming book, This. Today on the Hidden Ingredients of Success, we have a very special guest. Although I'm wearing this mask, this is a very serious episode as the topic is about mental health. And in order to reach success, your health has to come first. This is the very first interview, the very first show of the Hidden Ingredients of Success interactive podcast. And today we have our first guest, Mr. Khalid Moore, someone who I personally viewed his journey and watched him overcome some struggles that a lot of people in the world face. And unfortunately, a lot of people in the world that face these struggles don't even know it. And not only did Mr. Moore overcome these struggles, but he also wrote a book about it in order to contribute to society and help others get through those same struggles. If you find any of this content valuable, I'd like for you to please like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel so we can help raise awareness. So this is a personal friend of mine. I'm very proud of him. His book is entitled A Journey to Peace. You can find it on Amazon. So let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Khalid Moore. What's up,
hey,
good
how
brother?
you doing? Good to see you again.
Hey man, listen, I know this is a little awkward that I have this mask on. I'm about
Well,
to take
brother,
it off.
I know your personality, and I know that's what you do.
Well, no, I just figured that being as though this episode is about mental health issues, I would leave it up to my audience to assume that my own mental health might be slightly compromised. No, let me stop. So let me take this off. Are you ready to be unmasked? And here we are. So let's do this the right way. Good brothers. Good to see you, man.
See, Steve.
It's been a
You
while.
mind me calling you by your government, do you?
Oh, man, listen. For those who don't know me, my name is Steven. That is my first name. Mostly know me by Sync. But my good brother over here met me in a place where no one knew me as Sync. I guess we could share a little bit about that with the viewers today. But I'm going to start it off with the question about your book. Why did you decide to write Journey to Peace?
Well, how I decided to write it, I'm sitting in jail with you, as you know, and I'm going through it. I'm going through different emotions, anger, depression. All of my symptoms was flaring up. So I just started the journal. Started writing as a journal. Okay. And then I remember you suggested, hey, you should turn that into a book.
Well
so that's
people that don't know, me and Mr. Moore, Khalid, we met in jail. Unfortunately, I wish we could have met in a better place, but it was a blessing that we met because in us meeting, we'll be able to share our experiences and your experiences with the world. And I really feel that it could benefit, especially the Black community, because there's an under-awareness of the mental health issues in the Black community. I don't believe that there are enough resources to help deal with it, and I believe that there are so many factors that play a part outside factors, but that's another story. So anyway, we met in jail, and well, you wanna tell them about your situation as far as being in PIC and how you ended up there and how we met, stuff like that.
It was 2018. I was off of my medication. I have to stay on medication for my mental illness. And I was off my medication and I committed a crime, which was aggravated assault. And it landed me at PIC, one of the worst jails, in my opinion, on State Road. I just want to tell a little story about how we really met. Is I was having a kind of a moment. Then I was acting like I had a gun on the cell block, and I was shooting bang, 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 just going around there, and everybody thought it was funny. Some people thought it was, what's wrong with this guy? It was different emotions. but you reached out to me and you said, because at the same time I was, you could say, expressing myself on how I was feeling, and somehow you connected with that. And you wrote me a letter and you said, I feel you and I understand where you coming from. I don't think you crazy.
It's crazy because you literally just brought that to my memory, because I totally forgot that I wrote you that letter. What it was is when you came to the block, you were considered coming from A block, and that was what we called the crazy block. So everybody on A block was people who suffered from mental illnesses or physical handicaps, and they all had to take special medication. So when you came to the block, everybody in the block automatically knew from seeing you in the hallways that you came from, quote unquote, the crazy block. So when you were cutting up and acting up, everybody just automatically assumed that, oh, that's just you being crazy. That's who you are. And they were teasing you, making fun of you. And it's crazy because, I'm the type of person, I don't like to judge people. I've come from a place inside where I just don't judge people. And being as though we met that one time where I think it was we met before, prior to that, on the going to court, and I spoke to you.
Yes.
And we talked about numerology and life path numbers. And when you spoke to me on that time, I was like, okay, brother, maybe from A block, but he woke though. Like, he knows something. You not all the way crazy. So that intrigued me, and that made me, just want to learn more and figure out who you were. And so when you came to the block that time and I saw you and everybody's teasing you, and I'm like, yo, they don't know what I know. Let me reach out to brother, because I'm glad he's here and there's a reason he's here. And you were kind of amusing. I mean, some people found it annoying, but to me, I found it amusing. And in jail, it's such a depressing environment that anything amusing or anything that, you can find amusing is just a breath of fresh air, because there's not much fresh air circulating in jail. So, it's just all these factors keep you up.
Exactly. And just being you connected in that way, it relieved a lot of my anxiety, because I felt as though what a lot of people don't know, it's a stigma with us having mental illness. But if you give us some type of little attention, or you give us some type of calm approach towards us, we will invite that, and that will calm us down. Because you did calm me down, because the way you approached me, and a lot of people don't know about that. I think it's a training that they do, in fact, on how to deal with someone that's going off. And I appreciate that.
Well, you know what? I appreciate you for mentioning that, because like I said, that literally slipped my memory. And the reason that's just the type of person I am. My younger sister, I'm not going to call her little because she's 27 now. But she suffers from MS, cerebral palsy, epilepsy, so she's mentally on a lower level. She's not, functioning as someone her age would. So, I kind of took care of her, coming up. We're 10 years apart. So seeing her battle what she was battling through, I've always had a soft spot for anyone dealing with handicaps, and not saying that that's what, calling you handicapped or anything, but, from everyone's perspective and from their perception of how you were, you were being teased. And it's funny because the same people that were teasing you, one of them was teasing you, and one of those same dudes that was teasing you, when he saw you got a fresh pair of sneakers, he wanted to buy them off you and wanted to be your best friend all of a sudden. And it's crazy because I watched that. I watched him screaming out the cell, calling you all types of names, saying all types of foul stuff about you. And you probably didn't see it because you know how the cells are. You was down on the floor by yourself, and you can see just a bunch of cells, but you don't know who was doing what. But he was yelling all types of stuff out to you. And then as soon as you came in there and had them new sneakers, and you said you was selling them, he was your best friend, man. Jail is just, boy.
Yes, this is crazy in jail. I mean, it's people will take advantage of you. I'm not talking about physically. I mean, they will physically, emotionally, sexually, or whatever, but they'll manipulate and take advantage of any weakness you show.
Right.
And that's the God's honest truth. I've seen it. And I have had it happen to me. Sometimes I knew what I was doing, but I was just letting that person take advantage of me anyway.
Right.
I know it sounds crazy.
No,
but
it's not crazy at all, because from a psychological standpoint, when we feel alone, or not even
yeah,
when we feel alone, it's just human nature to want connection. And sometimes that
yes,
connection isn't necessarily a healthy connection. Sometimes it's an abusive connection. But just the feeling
yes,
of having that connection, as a humans, we yearn for that. And sometimes, we take a couple of punches in trying to find that. And until we actually learn, we have to first have that fulfillment and wholeness within ourselves first, before we subject ourselves to others, because then we'll be willing to subject ourselves to unhealthy situations. But let me get back to the questions for you. So what type of mental illnesses do you know of, and which did you suffer from?
I personally suffer from bipolar disorder,
Okay.
but I also have been diagnosed with major depression disorder and schizoaffective disorder.
Okay.
You have schizophrenia. You have they the more serious ones, but not saying that they all not. They all serious, but schizoaffective is almost as having schizophrenia. It's when you hear and see things and have beliefs that are not realistic.
Sully, it's crazy because before they let him into my room, a CEO who was, she took to me in there as far as my personality and my demeanor. So she pulled me to the side and said, "Hey, you got a new Sully. I really don't want to put him in there with you, but I kind of do want to put him in there with you, because I feel like if I put him in there with someone else, it might be a big problem, and I know how you are, so I'm going to put him in there with you." So he is off, she said. She said, "I would show you, all his cases, but he's off, so, just be careful, and if you need anything, let me know." So she put him in there, and I found out that he suffered from schizophrenia. And one of the things he told before he came to jail, he had an incident where he was literally having a conversation with an outlet on the wall. How the outlet, has the prongs, the two prongs, and in the middle looks like eyes in the mouth if you look at it in a certain way. He said he was having a
Yeah.
full-fledged conversation with the outlet on the wall. And that was one of the things that, I guess he was discovered, and they found out he was a little off. So let me ask you, how did you feel when you first discovered that you suffered from mental illness? And, what was that experience like? Like, how was it explained to you? How did you receive it? Did you believe it? Were you willing to accept it? Like, what was that process like?
I didn't understand it. I didn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. I thought maybe it was just some drugs I took and it had me tripping. But for years, I did not accept the fact that I had a mental illness, because I didn't want to be labeled that, and I just didn't want, I felt embarrassed about it. I was very embarrassed about it.
Yeah, I want to let you talk about that more, but I kind of feel you in that, because, us in the community as a minority, we already suffer from so many other, statistics and stigmas and stereotypes, that just owning something like having a mental illness and owning that is just something that it's very rare that someone from our culture will own up to, because of we already facing a lot of adversity, and that's just another what's the word I'm looking for, disadvantage, I guess, to some people would say.
Right, and if I could just say, when I'm growing up, I'm 50 now, but when I was growing up, 8, 9 years old, and we seen some person with some mental illness, it was just like we said, they crazy. They crazy. You never really heard mental illness at that time, back in the 70s, the 80s. But mental illness is not shameful now, because there's treatment for it.
Right.
And I just want to advocate for that, because there's so many of us that don't want to accept the fact that we need medicine
And help.
and we need therapy.
Right.
That was one big thing too about it. I didn't want to be on medicine.
Right.
That medicine saved my life.
Has there been any situations in your life where your mental illness has affected someone that you personally have a relationship with, or that you love?
I would say with my father, my parents, because I didn't understand that they were trying to help me. They was getting me 302, which is involuntary commitment to mental health hospital. And I would lash at them, call them names. It's my own parents that raised me. Call them names, act violent towards them. I didn't stole their money.
I mean, I guess
really
at that time you didn't understand what they were doing, and all you just looked at it as they were betraying you, and you just felt rage, and you didn't care at that point. You just whatever.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. I mean, he was actually physically chasing me down to get me to calm down and take me to the hospital when I'm thinking he's trying to kill me.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to get.
So what was your relationship like with your parents before all of this?
Listen, I come from a 2-parent home and very loving family and very close. And it's just that, hey man, a dog bit me, and that dog was a mental illness, and I can't justify it. I mean, I don't know how to justify it. I don't know how to explain. I stopped a long time ago saying, why me, God? Why did I have to, get it? But it's a reality.
Well, Steve, what a lot of people don't know is there could be 2 factors that play a part. You can have genetic or physical factors that play a part in mental illnesses, and then you can have just developmental, which are more so emotional and behavioral mental illnesses that have been put on you by, external factors like the parents, or suffering from traumas or things like that, experiences that you may have had that have been traumatic to you, that could have set off a behavioral disorder, anxiety, depression, things like that. And then the genetics of where this the schizophrenia and the bipolar and stuff like that, usually that's chemical imbalance related, and maybe things going on with your brain, malfunctioning and stuff like that.
That's absolutely right.
When you were in jail, what inspired you to write this book in jail? I know I told, you said that, you mentioned that I told you that you should turn your journal into the book, because I actually myself was in the process of writing this, The Hidden Ingredients of Success in Jail. So, we met, well, we didn't meet there, but we came to the law library where I was working at, and I was typing up my book, and then you would, tell me about, what you were writing, and you was like, oh, that's cool, you writing a book? And I'm like, I remember you said that, and I said, yeah, I am. And I passed it off to y'all, and y'all was reading it, and he was like, oh, that's interesting. And then you was talking about, how you were writing, and I was like, well, you should turn that into a book. You should do this. And then we started working together. When you would come to the law library, we would type up together and stuff like that, and develop the book. But what was it like for you in jail, like dealing with your mental illness? Were you able to find a way to deal with it in jail? Is that where you learned how to actually combat your mental illness? Like, what actually pushed you to the point where you said, this is what I have, enough is enough, let me figure out a way to now deal with this and move forward so that I can have a better life?
Basically, I have learned some coping skills with mental illness. It's, from my years of dealing with it. So those skills started coming back to me once I started interacting with you, and you was doing something positive. And I said, you know what, I can do something positive. And I said, let me start. My behavior started changing. And my most important thing is I wanted to write the book to get the message out to others that's going through it. And just interacting with you and getting that motivation to do the book changed me. And it changed me for the better.
And see, you writing this book is going to motivate and inspire others. It's going to change others. And it's just like a domino effect. One person literally can change the world by inspiring just one other person. And I'm very proud of you. How's your book doing on Amazon? I've been seeing comments on your page. I see a lot of people
everybody's been really receptive to it. And I have 5 stars. I have great reviews. And people are just blown away by the genuinely openness that I give people with the book and the things that I have been through. That's what's really getting the people to connect with it, because they have family members where they also dealt with some issues. They have sons, daughters, cousins that have been through the same thing, and they can relate.
So how can people connect with you outside of the book? Once again, your book is called A Journey to Peace. They can find it on Amazon.com.
Journey to Peace.
That's the cover. So when y'all see that cover on Amazon, you know that's the book written by Khalik Moore.
Right. The easiest way is to type in my name, Khalik Moore, and it'll bring you to my book, Journey to Peace.
Okay, I heard that. Thank you, good brother, man. Anything else you want to say for the viewers before we sign out?
Yes, I just want to say one thing is thank you for your time. Share this podcast if you can. And I want to thank you for having me on. And I'm looking forward to a lot of things coming from you.
I heard that. I appreciate that,
especially
good brother.
the book.
I appreciate you for taking the time to be on this podcast, man. I really feel like it's very important. And a lot of people need to be aware of this. And hopefully, man, we can start something, you know, bringing some awareness to the people who aren't aware and
Yes,
help open people up who are dealing with these issues, who are afraid to open up about them, and who don't understand that people who can see it, that love them, are genuinely trying to help them instead of them fighting these people, but accepting this help. And, you know, taking accountability and understanding the problem is the first step to being able to solve it and getting the proper support you need in order to move forward in life.
One more thing before we go. I just want to give people my Facebook.
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah,
Khalik
sure.
Moore. That's my Facebook. I just showing you, I don't really have nothing on there, but just showing you how I'm living. I'm living a normal, regular life now. And my Instagram.
I'm gonna put up your Facebook and your Instagram on the screen, so everything in the description, so everybody watching, you can find his Facebook and his Instagram in the description, so you can follow him along with a direct link to his book on Amazon.
Thank you.
Thank you, good brother. It's a
All right,
blessing to
thanks
see you,
a lot
man.
for having me.
I'm gonna reach out to you soon, man. We're gonna be talking.
Okay.
All right, peace and love.
All right, God bless.
It hurt me to wake up and see my beautiful black people suffer, victimized by the oppressive, harsh realities of the hood. I guess even though we were free, we were still slaves in the mind. Message!
Alrighty, we're in there. Yes, yeah. I'm I don't know what I am.